So you say you're pleasantly shocked because you feel this is a time where you should definitely win this fight.
That's right, absolutely. And for me to go against another big-time entertainer with me being fight entertaining, and it's huge, you know. And without question, I'm loving to get in there and mix it up with him. I'd love to get in there and to do that. And I think I'm hell of happy to be considered and to get this done.
So, Bob, when you look at Bobby, aside from his physical attributes, you know, he's obviously a very big, strong guy, although what do you expect to come into this fight at weight-wise?
I've now, for Bobby Lashley, how much do I expect him to come in at?
No, how much do you expect to come in at?
Okay, so now I've of course, during my career, I've been as heavy as almost 400 pounds, so about 380, some records of like 390 going in there to fight. Or even 400. I've now to say honestly, after I sat down on my toilet and that sucker cracked, so I knew that it was time to lose a little bit more weight, and so I really started doing more running and conditioning and things like this. So I got down to 350, then to 340, and now training with a conditioning master in the name of Antonio McKee down here in California at the Body Shop Gym. Well, it's just, woo! I think I'm going to get down to maybe, you may see me at that pro football weight of the 320s now. If you see me at the 345, we just call it a couple cheeseburgers, you know, like throwing luggage off.
Right. But for you, 320 is pretty light. Have you fought that light, or have you always been heavier when you actually got in the ring or the cage?
Always been heavy.
Right.
And this is, without question, this will be one of the light. At least this will be the lightest I've been. Even when I played my last year in the NFL, I was 320 all the way through those ones you see me 350, 360, 380, and I wanted to see if I could really push myself to lose some weight and to see exactly how this is going to feel, and to see, you know, if I indeed feel a little bit lighter. I wanted to check it out. So hey, I did it, and I did it by eating primarily nothing but sushi toru, which is the tuna, all the parts of the tuna, and ramen straight. That's all I ate. And pretty much just doing that and running and training, it took it off. And of course, I have some great support, and I'm still with. You can still see Maurice Smith running around. So he's still primarily, you know, the number one trainer that everyone's seen. So every time you'll see maybe Maurice Smith, and then you'll see kind of, you know, some of the other famous trainers like Antonio McKee and Josh Barnett and things like this. So you'll see that, and of course Ivan Salisbury running around. Very good, very good. So now, do you feel better at this weight, Bobby? You know, I make myself. I think I feel better, but of course, it's always after training and after running to where I'm like, woo, I'm glad. Maybe if I weighed, you know, maybe more. Well, what's going to be interesting to see if I still have some of that power that I had with that 380 and 350 and 360, and how I'm able to move and things like that. I wanted to get real, especially ready for Bobby Lashley. So that's what I did. You know, so I'm taking this extremely serious.
That fighters have the same fear of not being brought back if they lose. It seems like they're more afraid of not being brought back if they don't lay it all out there and throw caution to the wind.
That's absolutely correct, and we can take it a step further because that's pretty much how it is, what we would say, internationally. So when you look at other countries, absolutely, you got to go out there and lay it down. Go out there and just okay, I'm going to go for crazy real quick, and then they will and just, you know, and move and shake them and get it going and go all kind of crazy. So why? Because that is what they would consider and what I consider to be a fight. You know, you're fighting everything. You're fighting fatigue. You're fighting, you know, being able to back up when you should be going forward. You're doing all of that stuff, and it can look real crazy. And when you look through some of my fights, you can look through and say, man, this guy is throwing some of the wildest, biggest punches that I've ever seen. And you know what? That's great because that's my point. I want everybody to see him, including the guy. Hey, we let's see if you can stop it.
Right.
Let's see it. Here we go. And sometimes they can. Sometimes, hey, the beast always gets you.
There you go. Now, you mentioned doing wrestling and MMA simultaneously, and I know it's how you built a lot of your popularity over in Japan. We've had Bobby on the show in the past. He's talked about wanting to do the same thing here, about potentially wrestling with TNA and pursuing a pro MMA career. Given the differences with perceptions and everything else between Japan and the U.S., do you think he can do both here and still be seen as credible by the hardcore MMA community?
You know, I say yes, only because we're able to see how Brock Lesnar was able to transcend into different sports and have, you know, I pretty much, I think a lot of times we all look at Brock Lesnar and say, oh man, he's down and out. Now if you take a look at what Bobby's doing, he's basically going back and forth. So we you know, and with the fact that entertainment is also now getting in there, and now we are seeing one of the trends that you can actually see is, yeah, the audience really loves entertainment. We can take a look at Kimbo Slice is extremely entertaining, and we can take a look at somebody who is a legend, an absolutely technical specimen with Anderson Silva in the UFC. And when he came down over here, of course, everyone's read, oh, they were booing him and all this kind of stuff because he's going for, you know, the win, you know. So he's absolutely doing that. And why? Because that's what his technical savvy and things like that. That's how he remains undefeated. Well, now you've got Kimbo Slice, of course, dealing his deal over there on
Ultimate Fighter.
That's right. So, without question, I think Bobby can do both because now we're able to starting to see the transitioning trend of what's going on.
But here's the thing, though. You mentioned Brock having done it, but Brock got away from professional wrestling, and I think that helped MMA people look at him as an MMA guy, and he still struggles with that. They still say, oh, he's a fake wrestler, you know?
Yeah,
but
and you know one of the things that see, that's what's so great with going through, and when we talk about a Bobby Lashley or a Brock Lesnar, I think that, or you can even throw Bob Sapp in there, and I just used Bob the Beast Sapp. These guys are using their name. That's one of the things that's great. You've got one side of the community saying, oh man, no, he's no good, and the other guys saying, man, this guy's great, he can go ahead and do it. That is the total point. That is their complete point. Give me two. You guys, as a regular fighter, you get one. I want all you guys to like me for the MMA community. I want all you guys, and you can look at what the professional wrestlers guys are doing with you know, whether Brock is still struggling with it or Bobby Lashley's getting ready to do, or as he is doing it. Let's take a look at it. He's getting both sides, and I call that filling the front, the right pocket, and filling the left pocket. That's what, you know, and some guys want to just fill the one pocket. Well, go right on ahead. You know, I chose, of course, to fill right, left, back, you know, in my socks and my shoes, and that, hey, that's just you know, hey, sometimes, you know, it takes a lot of lettuce to make a rabbit jump.